Here I'm going to show you how to combine the vendor information with the line items using Active Data's tagging facilities. Here we have a SAP worksheet with the vendor information stored separately from the vendor detail transactions. First, I need to put some column names into row 1. I'll start by copying the column names in row 9 to row 1. I'm going to name column A row type, and I'm going to name column D value. I'm going to use some of Active Data's tagging features to identify the different rows in the sheet. First, I'm going to tag all of the rows that contain the word vendor in column A, and I'm going to tag each row with the value vendor number. Active Data will tag each row that has the word vendor in column A with the word vendor number. We'll repeat the process for the company code. This time we're going to tag all of the rows that contain the word company code in column A, and we're going to tag them with vendor company. Now we're going to tag all of the rows with the word name in column A. We'll tag these rows with vendor name. Finally, we'll tag the rows with the word city in column A. And we'll tag these rows with vendor city. Next, we'll tag the line items using another one of Active Data's tagging features. The tag rows with a similar format to current row command looks at all of the rows in the sheet that have the same data types in the same columns. We'll tag these rows with the word detail. We can then scroll down through the sheet to verify that it's tagged the items that we expected it to tag. Once we're finished tagging the rows, we can use Active Data's Combine Tagged Rows feature to combine the vendor information with the line item details. First, I'll take the vendor number rows and tack them on to the detail items. I'll do the same thing for the vendor company, vendor name, and vendor city rows. This process often produces a lot of blank columns off to the right, so I'll use the Remove Blank Columns command to get rid of them. As I scroll towards the right, we can see that the vendor information has been added to the detail rows. The next step is to copy the detail rows to their own sheet. Active Data will copy the rows tagged detail to a new sheet. You'll end up with some superfluous columns that you can delete. The data from the report is now in a normalized database format. Here's another example using a worksheet that was created by QuickBooks. First, I'll give column B a name. Then I'm going to use Active Data's tag rows with a similar format to current row to tag the detail items. This row had a blank in column J, so we'll repeat the process for these types of rows as well. Now we'll tag the customer name rows. We'll tag these rows with the word header. Now we'll tag the subtotal rows. We can scroll down to eyeball the results. Now back up to the top. We'll then use Active Data's combine tag rows to combine the customer information with their invoice and payment information. This process can end up generating quite a few blank columns, so we'll use the Remove Blank Columns command to get rid of them. If we scroll to the right, we can see that the customer name and subtotal have been added to the detail rows. Next, we can copy the detail rows into their own worksheet. Again, this process tends to generate quite a few blank columns, so we can use the Remove Blank Columns command to get rid of them. And now we have our QuickBooks data in tabular database format.